Let me do this again. I'm not liking what I'm saying. Can we do it again?
Yeah.
If you don't mind. I think that was Rudy text.
Alright guys, Rudy here from Miami. This time we are Afterhours studio. We'll be hanging out with Hal Batt, multi-platinum producer, and he's gonna show us and tell us about very important tips for you aspiring producers and musicians that wanna make music to the highest level. So Hal, tell me what's the difference between a record producer and a manager?
The funny thing about a record producer, he's in charge of the project, the song, the album, whatever he might be doing for the artist. The manager himself is in charge of the career for the artist. For example, bookings, tours, label meetings, things of that nature. And the record producer, he's in charge of the whole production of the song or the album. He controls the budget, disperses the money most of the time, and turns in the project. He gets the glory, he also gets the blame when something goes wrong. So the responsibility is the record producer.
All right, next question. So, as a producer, what do you look for on a talented artist?
What I look for in an artist is a few things. Number one, how unique is her voice? I look for a characteristic that sounds something that I haven't heard before, or something, I just don't care about the acrobatics of the voice. I care about the sound of the voice, making sure it's unique, that the average person can go, wow, that's cool, I can remember that voice. In the first 3 seconds of hearing her sing, or him, I know who it is. That's what's important for me. Also, I need them to have drive. I want them to want this. It makes it easier for me to produce and to show off their talent. For me, I look for something special in the person, something unique with their voice, something unique with their songwriting. And when I find that, that makes the perfect artist for me.
Another good one here. What tips can you give to aspiring young producers?
A couple of tips, I think, for a young producer, from my point of view, is to listen to the artist. Look at them, envision yourself where they should be, where they could be in your mind, to help develop them. That is your job as a producer, is to develop an artist conceptually. That's number one. I think you also need to go back and listen to old school music, to new school music, compare. Because all this cycles, it comes around again and again. And also learn some music. Learn a little bit about music, if not learn a lot about music, because that will help you relate to musicians. We can talk to them on the street or talk to them musically. You should be able to do both. That's my recommendation. And be open-minded and be creative.
So one last question to wrap this up. What's the difference between working with a major label, an independent label, and an independent artist?
That's a great question. Working for like a major label, for example, like Sony Music, it's interesting because I have to deal with the president, the administrator who pays us, timelines, budgets, directly with them, and they are my boss, not the artist. They are. So I'm accountable to them. Indie labels give me a little bit more leeway to do what I want to do and a little bit more open-minded. Where the artist basically trusts me to do anything that they need to do to make a great record. So my hands are tied a little bit more with the major labels to deliver a product that they can go mainstream with if that's what they want to do. The same thing applies to the indie labels. And most of the time the indie labels are distributed by the majors anyway, so they're almost one of the same people. But the budgets do differ from the major and the indies.
Alright, guys, so we hope you liked this episode. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us some comments. See you next week.